Welcome to American Education FM, everybody. I'm Dr. Sean Brooks. Okay, everybody, another week. Here we go. First of all, if you don't follow Catherine Herridge over on X, I highly recommend it. This individual, again, she was the chief intelligence correspondent for Fox News a number of years ago. She was consistently bringing Fox News producers and directors and the CEO a great deal of information. I remember her talking about it at length a long time ago. Specifically, again, I believe when Roger Ailes was running Fox News, she would consistently bring very important government-related corruption stories to his attention, and he would just kind of blow it off. But she would, again, always knock on his door, according to her. She's an excellent person to follow because she's been directly tied up with all of this, again, James Comey, James Clapper, John Brennan, Andrew McCabe, treason and sedition and conspiracy to commit both story throughout this entire time. So I'm just going to read a couple of posts here regarding Catherine Herridge, not to mention, if I had to take a guess, and I'm not the only person who has this approach regarding her work, but she's directly tied to a great deal of the Q posts and certainly that operation. There are some key phrases that are used within some of those drops, specifically when it comes to following the pen, quote unquote. So if you get on the Q board and you type in follow the pen, you're going to see again a number of different posts, approximately 16 or so, that pop up, because what was happening is Catherine Herridge was using her Twitter account at the time to take photographs of some of these FOIA documents that she was obtaining, and then she would highlight particular sections, and then again, she would lean her pen directly into a particular sentence that she wanted individuals to hone in on. So, again, warming people up to all of this and even bringing her in on particular news channels has always been, again, one of her approaches. Then, of course, she went over to work for CBS. She got a pretty good layout of the land over there, and then she was cut loose from CBS because, again, people were like, well, we can't trust her. She's dropping too much information. She's directly tied to too many things. We got to get rid of her. And they did. And they just cut her loose, and then she testified in Congress after she got cut loose from CBS. And she, again, was describing some of the corrupt nature over there, which shouldn't shock anybody. But she's been one of the good guys this entire time. So here's what she said on X on September 26th regarding the Comey indictment, which, again, as I said earlier, and as a lot of people know, such a basic indictment of lying under oath, albeit a felony and very serious, and clearly he did that. That's just the tip of the iceberg regarding him and everybody else in their collusion here. So she said the following, quote, more to come at Comey. Based on my 2 decades covering the FBI, the Justice Department, a thin indictment suggests a holding charge with the potential of a more complex superseding indictment that adds more charges. This is not only possible but plausible in Comey's case based on the recently declassified FBI leak investigations via Director Cash, codenamed Arctic Haze. The Arctic Haze records reveal several FBI senior leaders and Columbia law professor Daniel Richman, every single time, said they coordinated media leaks at Comey's direction. James Rybicki, James Baker, Andrew McCabe, and Daniel Richman. Again, all of them working for the FBI, except for Daniel Richman, Columbia law professor. It says, August 14th, I was among the first to report on Arctic Haze. It says, the parties did not respond to my request for comment about the declassified Arctic Haze records. Now, this again is where people would just blow past it and not pay attention, but again, she's using a highlighter, and she highlights particular sections, and then again, she'll circle an even more specific section. And she's got, again, an entire screenshot of one of these pages of this declassified information, basically. And this is coming from page 6 of that document, and I want to read the whole thing. It's rather interesting. At the very top, again, second paragraph, it says, because the first one's cut off, but it says, during an interview with the investigative team, Peter Strzok stated he believed the FBI executive management told them to meet with the New York Times. Strzok said that he recalled being told to provide a investigator-level briefing on the mid-year exam investigation. These briefings took place on March 10th of 2017, March 30th of 2017, and April 10th of 2017. During the March 30th, 2017 meeting, the New York Times told Strzok and Page they had the classified information. Strzok told investigators he did not recall the New York Times having the classified information, but Page told investigators she specifically recalled the classified information and took a break from the meeting to discuss with Strzok that the New York Times had the classified information. Page indicated she alerted her supervisors about the fact the New York Times had the classified information. According to FBI OPA, the New York Times advised them in their April 10, 2017 interview about the content of the article, including the classified information. And then there's 3-4 lines that are completely redacted. And then, let's see. Then it says, Comey, Richmond, and their interactions with the media. That's highlighted. It says the following. By way of background, Richmond is a Columbia University law professor and a close friend of Comey. They met while working as New York SDNY. It says, let's see, they met while working as Assistant United States Attorneys, AUSAs, at the Southern District of New York, SDNY. The New York Times article contains several quotes attributed to Daniel Richmond, which defended Comey's decision to make a unilateral public statement about the mid-year exam investigation. Then this line is highlighted. In 2015, Comey instructed the FBI to hire Richmond as a special government employee, SGE, and to grant him a top-secret clearance with access to sensitive compartmented information, or SCI. FBI records indicated Richmond was hired to work on going dark, quote-unquote, matters. The investigation revealed Comey also hired Richmond so Comey could discuss sensitive matters, including classified information, with someone outside of the FBI's regular leadership. This is also highlighted here. It says Comey also used Richmond as a liaison to the media. On several occasions, Richmond spoke with the media without consultation with the FBI or DOJ's offices of public affairs. Richmond contacted journalists to correct stories critical of Comey, the FBI, and to shape future press coverage. It says Richmond did this both when he was an SGE and after he resigned from the FBI. And here's the last section also highlighted. It says the investigation revealed Richmond had been a source for Michael Schmidt, one of the reporters credited with writing the article at issue, and the New York Times since at least 2008. Richmond first spoke with Schmidt regarding an investigation into illegal activity in sports, and then it trails off here. It says prior to Richmond becoming an SGE, Schmidt visited Richmond's blah, 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 blah. And then it's cut off there. Point is that James Comey, again, was using this Columbia law professor, an old chum of his, to basically, again, release classified information into the public and then rewrite history as best as they could to convince individuals that certain things were happening that were not happening. Again, the entire Russia collusion stuff with, of course, Hillary Clinton, and in the indictment, it's already come out again that person number one in Comey's indictment is in fact Hillary Clinton. Again, she helped fund a lot of this, and she helped run point on a lot of this, and these individuals were the individuals in office at the time. This also, again, was from the Gateway Pundit, revealed person number one in James Comey indictment is Hillary Clinton. It says the following here, a couple lines down. It says, according to ABC News, person one mentioned in James Comey's indictment is Hillary Clinton, and person three is Comey's secret media mole, Daniel Richmond. Sources tell ABC News that person one is Clinton and person three is Richmond, so says ABC reporter Mike Levine. Newly declassified memos reveal James Comey's secret media mole, Daniel Richmond, leaked classified information to the New York Times' Michael Schmidt to help push for a special counsel in May of 2017. In newly declassified memos, it was revealed that Comey shared classified information with Daniel Richmond. ABC News is reporting that Daniel Richmond was Comey's personal lawyer. However, Comey didn't disclose this information until way later. It says not once did Comey ever disclose Daniel Richmond was one of his personal lawyers or an unpaid employee of the FBI until right before his testimony. Yeah, they're done. It's that simple. I mean, these guys are going to go to jail. And once they're in jail, then they'll just keep stacking on the charges, because it's not just, again, that you lied, it's what did you lie about? And then it becomes a whole boatload of other crimes. And then, who did you lie with? And then that's even more crimes. And then why were you lying? Therein lies the scheme. Therein lies the treason, the sedition, trying to trick people. Again, lead them down a path that isn't true. Get somebody out of office, keep somebody from entering office in the first place. These people are finished. Again, the list of names of people involved is only going to get larger. And all of these individuals, again, if they don't end up being cooperating witnesses and start turning on one another, then they're going to go to jail with the rest of them. So, again, this is one of those sit back and enjoy the show kind of moments, because this is really going to get really, really bad for all of them. Not to mention all of the media outlets, rather, that, took these people in. I mean, MSNBC, CNN, they had James Comey on all the time. They had Andrew McCabe on all the time. They still have John Brennan on all the time. I mean, again, these media outlets are helping run this entire charade, because they're giving these people, again, a platform to basically spew their nonsense and try to cover for their own involvement in all of this. It's not going to work out well for them, no doubt about it. And as even some of the Q drops said, some people are going to take the easy way out. They're going to kill themselves because they don't want to go to jail. And that's quite a deterrent. We'll see how many people actually do that, and we'll see again whether or not these individuals do in fact go to jail, but I'm certain that they will. Again, James Comey is about to be indicted here, I believe, in the first week of October, if I'm not mistaken. October 5th, somewhere around there. So this is most certainly one, again, that we're going to want to watch and pay attention to. This has never happened before in the history of our country, but certainly not on the justice end of things, and actually people being held accountable. And again, it was even alluded to and directly said in endless Q drops that you don't actually believe that these people are going to get away with this, do you? You wouldn't possibly go to all this trouble with all of this information and this great awakening and people waking up to the real world that we all live in if individuals, again, aren't going to hang for their crimes. Some of them, again, may disappear and we may never hear about what actually happens to them, but some of this, of course, as we've known for a very long time, it has to be public because the public has to see this. And again, the left is going to scream and they're going to shout, and I can't believe this, and Donald Trump's a dictator, and blah, blah, blah. But none of that matters. The fact is that this was an entire operation on the bad guy end that's been going on since before 2016. Again, we're talking about something that's been going on for 10 years plus now. It's been that long. I mean, man, I remember again when this all started to drop immediately and all of this started to happen. I'll never forget, again, James Comey coming out in July, the first week of July in, what would that have been, 2016, and basically saying that no reasonable prosecutor would bring charges against Hillary Clinton for mismarking and reading classified information, even though, yes, some of it was classified and she had it on servers that she wasn't supposed to have and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, the moment that happened, everybody's ears were glued to the radio and everybody's eyes were glued to the TV whenever they were hearing it. And then you instantly knew that your government was covering for her at the expense of Donald Trump and freedom-loving individuals again in America. It was a perfect display of full-blown corruption. And James Comey was the one to walk up to the lectern and deliver that message to everybody. Right then and there, you knew you could not trust him or anybody else, and then after that point, it was just game on. That alone pissed off endless people, and that right there is exactly why Donald Trump won. This, again, is the funny part about the enemy. Regardless of what industry they're in or, line of work or corporation or school board or government entity or whatever, they always overplay their hand. Always. And they actually believe that if they scream and they shout or they deflect or say something again into a microphone, that somehow is going to work out for them. It doesn't. Sooner or later, they get caught. Sooner or later, they never learn their lesson. And again, they end up going down with their own ship. So I'm fine with it, but it's just going to continue to happen. And the number of people, again, in this particular case that are going to continue to get indicted is going to be massive. And you're talking about like low-level lawyers wrapped up in this also. Media personnel. The list is endless. So yeah, This one's going to be fun, and I'm going to enjoy it because I've been paying attention to this for 10 years, and it's exhausting. Something else I'm also enjoying, Antifa being taken down. And man, when you arrest these guys and gross gals, I mean, don't they cry? Man, they whine like nobody's business. You get a few ICE agents kneeling on an Antifa person's back, they instantly start screaming for their moms. It's amazing. I love it. And again, who knew that paintballs and tear gas were their kryptonite? Apparently they are. They don't like being shot with a paintball gun, and they certainly don't like tear gas. But they're in Portland now, and they're doing exactly what they should have done from the very start in Portland, and that too is a fantastic thing. Now, let me mention this. The founding of our country, as I've brought up before, certainly on the show, and I highly recommend reading this book by James Perloff. It's titled 13 Pieces of the Jigsaw. And what it does is in the book, it goes through a number of different false flags throughout American history. And then, of course, it shows you the story that everybody was told in history books and in school and certainly on the TV and through media and whatever else. But then he dives into actually what went on within those particular false flags and what really happened. And the fact is that you do have to stage particular events in order to accomplish other things. It's not so much that it's a distraction to keep people from paying attention to something that's happening that is also going on at the exact same time. But it's, again, usually done to accomplish a number of different goals that you've wanted to accomplish for a long time, but you need a starting point. You need a Kickstarter. And the whole Charlie Kirk event and that entire fake shooting, look what that did. Almost immediately, Antifa was designated as a terrorist organization right after that. Again, just like the Revolutionary War. In the Revolutionary War, we were the ones who shot first because we had to. We had to get the British to shoot us and shoot at us. And once that happened, then it was game on. And one of the reasons, of course, for that, which Perloff lays it out perfectly in his book, is that endless individuals in America wanted to be British. They still wanted to keep the British way of life. They still wanted to bend the knee to King George. They still wanted to do all of that. They didn't want to be a free and independent nation, free from a crown. So the only way to do that, of course, was to have the colonizers, again, corner a few British soldiers in a particular area, take a couple of shots, maybe wound one of them, kill one of them, whatever, and then the British would shoot back, and then, like I said, it was game on after that. So all this stuff, again, about, well, the British shot first, and they killed us in some argument and whatever else. No, we were the ones who shot first. Perloff breaks down exactly where the shot came from, who probably made the shot, a number of different things. But that right there, again, got things kicked off, just like the Charlie Kirk event did. And here's another interesting part about the Kirk event that I think is absolutely fantastic. First of all, I've never been a TPUSA fan. If you've listened to this show, again, certainly dating back to, I'd say, early 2021, when I was talking about TPUSA with some regularity and Charlie Kirk and just basically saying, look, I'm not a fan of his, don't know where he came from, that's highly suspicious. People should listen to average Americans as opposed to these guys jumping on stages with all these massive crowds out of nowhere. Anytime that happens, it's all manufactured, and it's usually not for a good reason. Because, again, it's designed to keep people from thinking as an individual. It's just, again, used to have an individual associate with another complete stranger and another group of people for which they've never even met and know nothing about, and certainly don't ask any questions about either. But with that said, not being, again, a fan of TPUSA and seeing the kinds of people that are on all those stages at the exact same time and the messages that they, again, would spit, and I'm not saying that it was all bad, it certainly wasn't, but if somebody came up to a microphone and knew more than Charlie Kirk would get angry. Play the audio on the show, you're well aware of that. I mean, that was one of his reputations, among others. But again, with all of that said, one of the things that's happened now with TPUSA is they are completely irrelevant. And I know that on the other side, again, even plenty of conservatives would say, well, that's not accurate, Sean. Look at all the TPUSA branches and affiliations now that are starting in American schools, both at the K-12 level and university level. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't think it's fine because it's a monopolizing of the mind, and it's designed, again, to distract individuals. Instead of just starting a conservative group, why does it have to be a monopolized entity like TPUSA? Why does it have to be a company? Whatever happened to just a good old-fashioned, political yearbook club kind of thing, where you get your picture taken and it's tossed into a high school yearbook and, we're a part of the conservative club. Just have one of those. You don't have to walk around with TPUSA t-shirts like you're branding yourself or them on their behalf. With Charlie Kirk out of the picture, it's just become borderline irrelevant. Again, it was basically quote unquote led by him. He was sort of the goofy face behind the whole thing. And again, that's fine, I guess. But listening to these individuals instead of listening to yourself as an individual is, I think, kind of foolish. Look at the superintendent of K-12 schools in Oklahoma. Again, this particular guy's been rather outspoken, claims to be a conservative. But again, how did he get in that position? Did he get in that position because he's a Mason? Did he get in that position because he's really a conservative? Did he get in that position because he's owned by the Israeli government to some extent? Who's to say? But he made an announcement, again, long after the Kirk event, and he basically said that every public school, K-12 public school in Oklahoma, is now going to have a TPUSA branch. Again, you talk about monopolizing an entity. That's certainly it. And I'm not sure that that's a good thing. Like I said, why do you have to affiliate with a company or a group? That was a part of, again, this entire movement. Again, it may have been done, the fake Kirk thing may have been done for a good reason. Again, to kick off a number of positive things that, of course, have happened. But if certain things are built on the foundation of a lie, I don't find that beneficial in the slightest. So again, I just don't understand why endless people aren't questioning all of the events surrounding this particular issue. Not to mention, you can find out who some of these massive accounts are, in particular on X, and see who's actually buying into all of this and who continues to buy into directly the Charlie Kirk storyline that the media is feeding everybody. Let me give you one example. You may be familiar with this person, Aviva Frey, or Viva Fry, however the hell you pronounce his name. He's an ex-Jewish lawyer. Well, he's still Jewish, but he's an ex-lawyer in Canada. And he made his bones, again, being on Rumble and having a live stream during the Canadian trucker fiasco. And again, he was getting a lot of money throughout that and everything else. Well, people have directly tied him with, again, this sort of underground CIA, TPUSA kind of group and kind of crowd that all those people generally run together. He's been on Alex Jones a billion times. He's got a show with what's his name? Barnes, that lawyer. I forget his first name, my apologies. But anyway, Barnes and Fry or Barnes and Frey. And again, they bounce back and forth news of the day and legal ideas and whatever else. But he's on X right now openly criticizing individuals who are questioning the entire event and questioning the behavior of Charlie Kirk's so-called wife, who's an actress. She's a literal actress. And again, is she a part of this operation in a positive way? I don't know. Maybe she is. Maybe she's not. She's certainly a terrible actress. I think we can settle on that one. But even so, this is confusing. It really is. Because here's what TPUSA has done now. Now they're claiming that this gay kid, who allegedly is gay, I have no proof of that, nor do I really want it. That would be disgusting. But it's this young dude by the name of Brylan Hollyhand. Again, it's kind of a goofy-ass name. But even so, he seems very evangelist. He seems very Judeo-Christian, quote-unquote. He seems completely controlled. Much like, again, a Charlie Kirk. Like, where did this kid come from? And who in the hell is going to follow this weak little kid anywhere? I don't buy into it. It's this evangelist culture that is really brainwashing a great deal of people. Here's a 37-second clip of him on his own X account flying in a private jet. Because that's cheap. Give this a listen in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, America? Brian Hollyhan's here, about 30,000 feet up. We are on the way to Arkansas. So everybody in line at the University of Arkansas to kick off my 10-stop campus tour. We are coming to you right here, right now. Stay in line. We have gotten a third room because we have sold out this campus stop 3 times. But we are coming to you. We will fit you in. Students will get priority, but we will make it happen. I cannot be more excited. We are back. We are on the road. We're coming to you one conversation at a time. If you're not at the University of Arkansas, we're coming to a campus near you soon, so check out my tour dates. We'll see you super soon.
I mean, he said super soon. Yeah, it's kind of gay. See you super soon. Again, I'm picking on him, and I know that's not nice, but I'm just telling people, it's the same pattern. It's the exact same playbook. It's the same Charlie Kirk playbook. Again, this kid's got a smile from ear to ear. Who wouldn't have a smile on his face? He's got all kinds of money for doing a whole lot of nothing. And he's flying on a private jet. And doing what? Campus tours for what? This kid hasn't worked a day in his life. He hasn't gotten his hands dirty. He hasn't hurt his back. He hasn't done anything. And all of a sudden, again, college conservatives, quote unquote, are just supposed to bow down to this dude? Again, it's bizarre. It's just the same. It's the same thing. It's the same habit. It's the same pattern. And then, of course, you have to ask yourself, what specifically is this being done for? I mean, what's TPUSA really done? I mean, I understand, again, the youth vote. Youth vote, MAGA, more Christians. I mean, okay, that's fine. However, affiliating with complete strangers and companies, I don't think is a very smart idea. Certainly not for youth. Because again, they're trying to still brainwash individuals. Yeah, it's not the mainstream media on the left, so to speak, but it does exist on the right. And it does exist among these evangelists, quote unquote. Again, if somebody corners this kid when he's up to a microphone and there's some Q&A going on, somebody has got to look at him and be like, hey, bro, where'd you come from? What was the last job you had? Who raised you? Where did you come from? Who are your parents? Why are you flying around on a private jet? Why are you acting like, again, you run something? I mean, there's a very young picture of this kid standing next to Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. It's bizarre. None of it is natural. My whole point, again, with this is just don't fall into it. Oh, again, what is confusing about the whole Kirk event, and it is confusing and it will continue to be, is that the entire Kirk event, whether it was, again, for good reasons, bad reasons, a mixture of both, it is a perfect example of a psychological operation because it has people thinking completely differently about a number of different things. In fact, there was this really funny Telly Savalas Kojak meme that was on Gab the other day. I'll put it in the next war video, but it's just a picture of him leaning up against a bar smoking a cigarette, and it says the following, quote, so basically, what we know right now is that the Charlie Kirk assassination was a trans furry lover, or it was an Israeli professional hit, or the security guards giving baseball signs, or the guy standing next to Charlie with a no-look shot, or the guy in the front row adjusting his shirt, or the couple on the side using an iPhone gun, or person in the window with the muzzle flash, or the person up top, on the higher level that looks like a fucking bush, or it was someone in the crowd that used a trapdoor to escape, or it was a drone strike, or it's all a fucking AI hoax and he's still alive. Hope that clears it up for you, unquote. It's perfect. It's a perfect meme. Because again, no one's on the same page. Nobody. Not a single person is on the same page. That should tell everybody that on these social media platforms, with all these people, with all these clicks and all this nonsense, none of them are on the same page and none of them are saying the one thing that is the most plausible explanation, which is it didn't happen. They're not even correcting themselves when they're wrong. They're not even going, hey, I know I just spent like 24 hours or 48 hours or 72 hours making videos about this particular angle, but, my apologies, everybody. I'm wrong about all that. Now it's really this angle. This is the angle that matters most, and this is the actual thing that everybody should be paying attention to. Give me a break. The answer lies in the explanation that requires the least amount of assumptions. The answer doesn't lie in all of the individuals assuming 1,000 different things, 1,000 different ways, and then never correcting the previous record that they just laid out for everybody, that they, again, claim is the only way that it could have gone down. Those people make me sick. Here's a particular article about this, too, on the UNS Review. This is an interesting little article. It's titled The Weird Theory of Kirk's Fake Death. Yeah. It says, when I first encountered that theory, they said, I didn't care to even look at the arguments. I suspected people posting such theories of being cognitive infiltrators or trolls. But then, the ballistic issues kept pointing me to that possibility until I stumbled upon this 19-minute breakdown, quote-unquote, video by Ben Werman. And again, I've played that video and linked it in the description below and played it in a previous war video. And again, it's the one that makes the most sense. And then they said, which I invite everyone to watch. I'm not sure this theory is correct, but I believe it is plausible and deserves consideration. However, I consider the trial of the Freemasons mentioned in this video as a red herring. And then they said, in my view, the theory of Kirk's fake death does not contradict the theory that Israel decided to eliminate Kirk for the reasons that have so widely circulated that even Netanyahu has felt the need to dismiss them. The theory of Kirk's fake death simply means that Kirk was given the chance to be disappeared alive instead of dead. It says that Israel masterminded the event is all the more likely that Kirk's security was reportedly Israeli, as Kirk himself seems to imply in this conversation with Bill Maher. Quote, if you want security, the Israeli know what's they're doing, unquote. Well, bad grammar. Either way, it just, again, the end of the first paragraph says he's probably referring to the Zionist-owned Shaft Security Group, if that's how you pronounce that, who ended their contract with TPUSA in 2022, but reportedly reappeared for Kirk's final event. Again, the article goes on. It shows particular video clips. He's got some bullet points here. The bursting shirt, the clotted blood, not enough blood, the AI image of the red hole on his neck, which was clearly added and not actually there. Eyewitnesses saw Kirk being shot in the chest, some said apparently. Kirk still holding the microphone. No ambulance, no crime scene. A dummy corpse where, of course, Erica Kirk or Franzev, or however the hell you say her name. Again, that entire creepy video. And then again, they show a picture of Donald Trump at that rally in Arizona, the so-called memorial, and he's smiling as he's hugging Kirk's wife. He's got a big smile on his face. Again, it's beyond strange. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But these events, again, they are done for a variety of reasons. Was it done to catch a bunch of people engaging in illegality? Probably. Was it done, again, as some mind control psychological operation? Probably. It certainly worked. A great deal of people, again, saw it and immediately stopped thinking, because they can't comprehend that things like this might not exist and might not be exactly what they think. But again, could this have been done for a good reason? It's possible too. The only part that I don't like is watching my fellow Americans fall for it and not dig into it and not think and not understand that events like this throughout our entire country's history have existed for the purposes, again, of moving and shaking particular people or events or political parties or whatever. Again, a great deal of people have no grasp of secret societies. They don't understand that these have been around for a very long time. They've also been corrupted. They've also, again, been turned into being worse than what some of them originally were intended to be. But That's what moves things, unfortunately, in this very disgusting world that we live in, but it is one of the things that does happen. So I'm going to leave it there. Again, notice how there's no answers. The autopsy thing, too, by the way. I'll end with this. The autopsy thing is also bizarre. A 911 call gets released from a dispatcher, and the dispatcher openly states that he's at the hospital, says something about the doctor signing the death certificate and the time of death, pronouncing him dead, whatever else, and that there was no autopsy, that there was no need for an autopsy. And at the exact same time, endless individuals, again, in that line of work, whether they be embalmers or they end up being funeral home directors or what have you, or doctors themselves, they openly have, again, said online, it is law that in any murder or assassination there would be an autopsy, because you would have to determine all of the specifics of that death. Remember the whole magic bullet theory. His bones were so strong that it stopped at 30-06. I don't think so. It'd have blown his neck clean in half. In half. I mean, like tipping off to the side in half. That didn't happen. So where's the bullet? Where's the autopsy? And then, of course, you ask an AI system, even like Grok. Hey, Grok, was there an autopsy in the Charlie Kirk death? Yes, there certainly was. Well, that's interesting because that contradicts the actual audio footage. So which is it? Can't be both. But you also can't have an autopsy of somebody who's not dead. And you can't have an autopsy on somebody who wasn't shot. But you can falsify an autopsy, can you not? I mean, Derek Chauvin's in jail, and that autopsy showed that he didn't kill George Floyd. But he's still in jail. But you can also, again, falsify autopsies all the time. He just happened to fall on his neck, and yes, there are, two bruise marks from handprints on both sides of his neck as if a person was being strangled, but they weren't strangled, trust me, because they just fell down the stairs. I mean, these are the kinds of, these are the lies that exist in this world. So a person would arrive at a conclusion and say, well, I don't know what to believe anymore. Well, yeah. I mean, welcome to the party. But the fact is that documents get falsified all the time. That's not a new thing. If a grade school kid can cheat on a test, somebody can falsify an autopsy report. They can print off the form, they can write in the people's names, they can be like, yep, shot in the throat, blah, blah, blah. We found the bullet, here's a bullet fragment, here's a piece of this, that, and the other. They staple it all together, they include it, they give it to God knows who for God knows what, and then that's it. Again, all the people affiliated with this Kirk event don't seem too sad. They don't seem like they've actually lost somebody. For them, it's just, I don't know, an opportunity to gain control. There are people even saying that this Holly Hand guy's not even affiliated with TPUSA. And then some people are saying that he is, but he's certainly on Ben Shapiro's show talking it up. Again, who are these people? Where do they come from? People have got to stop following complete strangers. It's so weird. I just find it so strange. Anyway, moving on here, last week, the education business took an absolute beating, and rightfully so. If you needed another reason to pull your children out of American public, private, and charter schools and homeschool them, or again, understand that if they can read and write, they can teach themselves, then, well, hopefully last week was just more evidence of it. This comes from The Blaze. My apologies for the outlet here. But it was titled, Teacher Busted for Allegedly Choking Fourth Graders in Hallway Horror. Furious mom demands justice. I was disgusted. She also went on and said, quote, we trusted them to take care of our child, and no teacher in that school took care of my child that day, unquote. Well, no kidding. No kidding. I'm just going to play the YouTube video here. Again, it's an old, crazy, I don't know, left-wing female bad of a teacher who basically had these two young girls, elementary school aged, apparently 9-year-olds, up against a wall in the hallway, choking them, having her hands around their throats up against a brick wall, So, yeah. Anyway, give this a listen in 3, 2, 1. And by the way, again, the parent in this is equally as foolish. They were homeschooling their child, and then they literally sent them to a public school thinking that they were going to be safe. This is the naivete of parents. Children are not safe in American public schools because it's government. And safe and government and public schools are an oxymoron. So give this a listen in 3, 2, 1.
Just a week into a new school year at West Park Elementary School in Benbrook, Katie got a call from her 9-year-old daughter.
She's crying, inconsolable, saying someone choked her, that a teacher choked her.
Her daughter told her Gail Patterson pulled her and another student out of class in August. The 2 fourth graders were in trouble for talking. Video cameras in the hallway capture what happens next. The school showed it to Katie privately.
Within 2 seconds, she grabbed the first student by the neck, then grabs my daughter, holds them both up against the wall for 11 seconds while she's in their face.
It happened in the middle of the day. Katie says the school never called. Benbrook police arrested Gail Patterson last week.
I was disgusted. It hurt knowing that we trusted a school after coming from homeschool. We trusted them to take care of our child, and no teacher in that school took care of my child that day.
Katie and her attorney, Ty Stimson, says the arrest doesn't go far enough.
They don't want to see Ms. Patterson teaching or having any involvement with kids anymore.
Her attorney hasn't responded to our request for comment.
Fort Worth ISD says Patterson is no longer employed by the district, but the victim's attorney says they are still moving forward with a formal complaint process calling for more accountability. In Tarrant County, I'm Brittany Costello.
We thought our child would be safe in an American public school. Give me a break. Again, terrible situation, that goes without saying, but the naivete here is overwhelming. Absolutely overwhelming. These are the same people that made children wear masks on their faces, depriving them of oxygen for at least an entire school year, some longer than that. This incident, again, should be a Title IX investigation. It should be a lawsuit. The whole thing. The whole thing. And then, of course, you had this one out of Iowa. And this one is hilarious, too. This is from Channel 6 KWQC.com, your trusted name in news. ICE detains Des Moines superintendent, says he has existing weapon possession charges. Again, school districts do not care about background checks. This guy was hired based on his skin color. He came from Africa. He hits all our diversity quotas. He checks all the boxes. Let's hire him. He had 0 credentials. None. It's amazing. And these people are so brainwashed, they're actually out in front of whatever the hell building that is, one of the state houses or whatever, police stations where this guy's been detained, and there's people protesting his detainment. People openly, again, let him free, he didn't do anything wrong. He's done everything wrong. He's not an American citizen. It says, Des Moines, Iowa, the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools has been detained by ICE according to the district school board. The school board president, Jackie Norris, fire her, posted a message Friday afternoon saying Ian Roberts was detained that morning. Get rid of the whole school board. Get rid of the entire school board. The state government and the state education department should take over that entire school district now. The entire thing. The Iowa Department of Public Safety said around 8:45 a.m. they received a mutual aid request to help ICE find a person who drove away during a traffic stop by agents. In a media release, ICE officials said that they approached Roberts in his vehicle during a targeted enforcement operation. Good. Somebody knew he was here illegally and turned him into ICE. Awesome. Officers said they later found Roberts' vehicle near a wooded area. Iowa State Police and special agents responded and found Roberts. He is currently in custody of immigration authorities. Adios, muchacho. Back to Africa you go. ICE agents said Roberts is a criminal illegal alien from Guyana in possession of a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a fixed blade hunting knife. You know, standard procedure for your average American superintendent at the K-12 level. It says Roberts was arrested in possession of a loaded weapon in a vehicle provided by Des Moines Public Schools. They even gave him a car, so he's driving illegally. After fleeing federal law enforcement, said ICE ERO St. Paul Field Office Director Sam Olson, quote, "This should be a wake-up call for our communities to the great work that our officers are doing every day to remove public safety threats. How this illegal alien was hired without work authorization, a final order of removal, and a prior weapons charge is beyond comprehension and should alarm the parents of that school district. You don't say." This also means, by the way, side note, that everybody who works for the Iowa Department of Education who went through his paperwork and approved it should be fired. Every single one of them. Find them. Follow the paper trail. Who read this documentation? Whose responsibility is it to read all of this certification documentation to make sure that they're certified, that they have the degrees, that they're an American citizen? You find those people and you fire them. Hell, charge them with the crime. It's fraud. It says ICE said that Roberts had existing weapons possession charges from February 5th of 2020. Interesting. According to ICE, the investigation into how Roberts acquired the handgun is being turned over to the ATF. He didn't get it legally. He can't get a driver's license legally. Is it a violation of federal law for those in the U.S. without legal status to possess a firearm and ammunition? Yeah, it is. It is. Roberts entered the United States in 1999 on a student visa and was given a final order of removal by an immigration judge in May of 2024, according to officials. Who is Ian Roberts? According to the district, Roberts was named the 15th superintendent of DMPS in 2023. Roberts is a former Olympic track and field athlete and competed in the 800-meter run in the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney, Australia, according to his alumni profile for Coppin State University. The profile said Roberts was born in Guyana, South Africa, and his dad immigrated to the United States in the 1980s and his mother in the early 2000s. As a track and field athlete at Coppin State University, Roberts was the MEAC conference champion in the 800 meters each year he competed. Who cares? The profile said. He also earned academic and athletic All-American honors and became the school's first male All-American and university's first Olympic athlete. No one cares. Roberts graduated from Coppin State University in 1999, went on to get his master's degree at St. John's University in Queens, New York. While at St. John's, Roberts became an All-American and Big East Conference champion in the 800 meters, in which he earned a professional athletic contract. Quote, "I subsequently competed and won a gold medal at the Central American Championships in Bridgetown, Barbados, and ran a time that qualified me for the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, Australia," Roberts said in the profile. "I competed in the 800 meters in 2 world championships in Seville, Spain, and Mabashi, Japan, and was a finalist in the Pan American Games 800 meters. Before working at DMPS, Roberts was a special education teacher and principal in New York, Baltimore City, and Washington, D.C. So it's not a surprise that he was, again, working without people doing proper checks on this guy. It says, and worked as a network superintendent of schools in St. Louis, Missouri, and Mill Creek Township School District in Pennsylvania. So he's worked all over the United States. In 2025, Roberts was listed in the educational magazine District Administration Top 100 Influencers. Well, that's the kiss of death. Again, this guy makes the rounds, and he's in magazines and whatever, because he's black, because he's not American. And it says, what's next for DMPS? Norris said that the board appointed Associate Superintendent Matt Smith as interim superintendent until further notice. Norris said that they are working to learn more confirmed information and will provide updates. Well, they were in on it. It then says ICE in Iowa. This is the second high-profile ICE detainment in Iowa this week. On Thursday, immigration advocacy group, no way I get that right, Uesha Mi Vaz, that's their real name, released a statement after saying one of their members was abducted by ICE, quote-unquote, in an unprovoked and dangerous action taken by men in khakis and short-sleeved plaid shirts. Governor Reynolds responds, according to Mason Morrow, Deputy Communications Director for Governor Kim Reynolds, the governor is aware of Ian Roberts being taken into custody and is, quote, in contact with the Iowa Department of Public Safety and federal authorities. Now you need to get in contact with the Iowa Department of Education. Find out who knew about this guy, fire them, and charge them with crimes, and get them as far away from this brainwashed business as humanly possible. Here's a piece of audio regarding all of this nonsense in 3, 2, 1.
No justice, no peace! No justice, no peace!
This was the scene outside the Des Moines County Courthouse earlier today. It came after the school district superintendent was taken into custody by ICE agents. Now, federal agents arrested Ian Roberts around 9 this morning, leading to a chaotic day for the district and city.
ICE officials say he should have been out of the country last year after a weapons charge. They say that he tried to get away at a traffic stop and ran from his car, but was eventually caught. They say that Roberts had a gun, hunting knife, and $3,000.
Officials also say that previous weapons charge was from 5 years ago. The interim superintendent spoke today to address the arrest, saying they don't have all the answers, but plan to lean on their strong teachers and staff during this challenging time.
This is challenging on many levels. And the reality is that we may not have additional answers right away. However, the strength of Des Moines Public Schools is in its people, our leaders, educators, and staff who will continue to advance the mission on behalf of our students and families as we wait for clarity in what comes next.
Roberts was an Olympic athlete from Guyana. ICE says that parents should be alarmed that the school district didn't check the immigration status, though it's important to note that he was hired in 2023, a year before the judge's 2024 deportation order.
I love this story. I just love it. I love it. It's so funny. He was a track star, but, well, he couldn't run from the police even when he tried. The irony. The Mike Smith guy, Matt Smith, the interim superintendent, this guy's queerer than a $3 bill also. I'm telling you, what is up with this? What is up with this? Nobody knew that this guy was an illegal alien? Give me a break. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what I wrote about at least 2 years ago, if not longer than that, on Substack. These schools would become sanctuaries for illegal aliens. They've always been. But they're actual employees themselves as well. And the employees around those illegal employees know that they are illegal. Which means they're harboring an illegal alien. They're obstructing justice. All of these are crimes. Fire them. Anybody in that district office who knew that this guy was an illegal alien, fire him. The HR director who's responsible for background checks, police officers who worked in the district, if they knew this guy was an illegal alien and they let him stay there, fire them. This is a massive investigation. The number of people involved in illegality in harboring that guy in that district should all be fired, if not in jail. It's amazing. And if you think, again, that this is just one place where this is going on, it isn't. This is happening all over the place. As for those protesting dummies outside of that building in downtown Des Moines, I mean, my God. They're completely lost. Absolutely hopeless. No justice, no peace. Are you kidding? If that was you, you'd be in jail. If you're a felon and you're a school teacher, you should be in jail. Do you think that superintendent would be pounding the pavement, holding a sign in support of you? No. He wouldn't give a damn about you. It's amazing. These people are incapable of thinking. And again, the people pounding the pavement and holding the signs, these are school teachers. These are people, again, in charge of children. And they're supporting a felon who ran from the police, carrying an illegal loaded gun, driving a car illegally. I mean, hello? That's your school teacher. That's your child's school teacher. So, are you going to send them back to school? Knowing now what your teacher supports, and your child's teacher supports, rather? It's just nuts. I'm going to end with this. This is kind of jab related, and I played a quick little clip of it in the war video on Saturday night. But again, this is a perfect reason as to why having debates with these individuals is useless. Of course, you know my take on debates. I'm not a fan of them in the slightest, and you're not going to change anybody's mind. People, again, typically walk into such debates with their minds made up, and all you're going to watch is just an argument back and forth. Certainly when it comes to those on the left who don't ever want to be wrong. There was a debate between a Dave Farina and Dr. Dan Wilson on one side of the debate stage. And Dr. Dan Wilson, I've played audio of him before. He's dedicated an entire YouTube episode of his nonsense show to basically attacking me and that school board speech that I gave 4 years ago. And of course, it's aged like a horrific bottle of fine wine, and it's come true. However, this guy hasn't learned anything this entire time. In fact, he's doubling down on his own ignorance and his own stupidity, and he's a communist, and he makes that abundantly clear. But these two guys are debating, Steve Kirsch and Dr. Pierre Corey. It's about an hour and 48 minutes long. It's on YouTube. You can check it out if you'd like, but it's embarrassing. It's straight up embarrassing. Again, it's an entire meme, basically. If you've ever seen that meme where somebody on the so-called right is bringing up a point that is factually accurate, the only defense that the people on the left has is for them to yell out the word source. What's your source? What tells you that? What proof do you have? But then when you ask them what proof they have none. It just becomes, again, this useless back and forth dialogue that accomplishes absolutely nothing. And there isn't anything accomplished in this entire debate. Those on the left become remarkably childish when they're asked very basic questions, and then they'll dismiss the subject as a whole because they don't have an answer to a very basic question that they're asked, and they'll say, well, let's just move on. Why don't we just move on? We'll move on to something else. It's like, no, wait a minute. You don't get to dismiss the point. In fact, just to give you a little taste of how stupid this particular debate was, let me play a little piece of audio from this. I'm just randomly selecting this of the 1 hour and 48 minute nonsense conversation back and forth here, but give these guys a listen in 3, 2, 1.
The mechanism, aluminum.
So explain how.
Are you familiar with Chris Exley?
Yes.
Okay, so you know he's like the world expert on toxicology.
He's not.
Oh, he's not. Then who is?
There is no single world expert in toxicology.
Okay, well, so
you like to paint this caricature. You like to paint this caricature of science.
He's been doing
there
it
is
for
no
36
one single expert.
years.
So?
How? So who has been doing it for longer than 36 years?
He's been producing slop for 46 years.
Okay. So he's been doing it for 36 years. There's nobody doing more research on that, and he finds kids like a 12-year-old with aluminum concentration in their brain that is off the charts, never seen before, and the kid is autistic.
Great. So let's start with, I'm assuming you're talking first about the 2017 Exley paper, right?
Yes.
Okay, so did you look at the numbers there in his table of aluminum measurements?
No.
You didn't look at
Hang on. You didn't look at the
They're
numbers?
off the charts, but you didn't look at the numbers.
There's a lot of stuff that I haven't.
Steve, you linked.
It's your source that you provided for this debate, and you don't know anything about the data in it.
Do you want to? Here, I'll give you some quotes from Chris Exley.
It's okay.
Since you don't know the paper that you brought, we can teach you what's in the paper. The numbers are all fucking over the place.
Yeah.
There's no clear trend. And second of all, there's absolutely no way to mechanistically and causally link that to anything. Even if the data was good, how do you rule out the idea that there's a neurological condition that just makes the brain not clear aluminum as well, right? There's no way to mechanistically link that to a causative agent of autism.
So Chris Exley has published over 200 peer-reviewed papers.
Data.
On aluminum.
Let's get to the data.
He's published over 200 peer-reviewed papers.
Many of which are retracted.
What he says is, I did not see such high aluminum content in the brains of Alzheimer's patient. This was extraordinary. These are some of the highest values ever measured in human brain tissue. Now, go ahead and dispute that. Tell me your source for someone who has higher levels of aluminum than what he's measured.
I'll do you better. So let's go to that table that you didn't read. So let me read off some of the measurements that he got of aluminum in a child's brain. Do you know what a technical replicate of an experiment is?
Sorry,
a technical replicate.
Is this science class that he's asking us questions?
Apparently it needs to be, because you guys don't even read the studies that you bring.
I'm sorry, Pierre.
I think.
Let me. Well, is it nitpicky, or are we proving that you have no fucking idea what you're talking about?
Nothing to do with what we're talking
Let me just make.
It's
Okay,
the
let's
source
recap.
you brought.
Hang on. Let's recap for a bit. Pierre brought up mercury.
No, I talked about autism. You are still sticking.
You need a causative agent.
I'm
have it.
recapping here.
You said mercury. You said aluminum.
This is descending into nonsense.
So it's descending into us showing that you have no idea what you're talking about.
Here, let's
you guys. Let's recap the time here.
Look, but we do need to finish this real quick, because we didn't bring up the point that that it didn't parse the study. There was no data on whether the patients were vaccinated or unvaccinated. The study was shit. You finished that because you read it better than I did.
Sure. So, I mean, first of all, Pierre, I understand you're getting upset, but I think it's reasonable to expect you to know certain things about the topics you claim to know better than the world's leading experts on.
Can I talk about this?
Yeah, let's let Pierre get in. Yeah.
So this request for mechanisms is one of the oldest tricks in the book that's perpetrated by the academics. Okay, so this is what they do. When they see associations that they cannot dispel, they do one of a few things. And let's talk about the Institute of Medicine, because you guys actually put that in as a reference. Do you guys know the history of the Institute of Medicine, what it is? So I can ask you these little nitty questions.
Yeah,
so what is the Institute of Medicine?
It's an independent body of experts.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. How do they get funded?
Not aware.
What?
Not aware.
You're not aware? Okay.
You're not aware, but you rely on their.
All right, so
you rely on what they say.
Let me school you a
You
little
guys supplied IOM data. You don't even know how to fund it.
So I care more about the integrity of data than I do about the funding
Medicine.
sources. But we can get to funding sources if you want.
See my point? It's exhausting. It's useless. It's just an argument. It's just a back and forth argument. One side is more right than the other. Clearly, Steve Kirsch and Pierre Corey are more right than the other two. One of them is a data analyst, the other is an actual medical doctor, and the two other fat communists on the left, who again are whatever they are, they're nothing. They just argue. Because again, they don't want to be wrong. They're heavily injected. They're injected. They don't want to believe that the thing that they've done to themselves, and then the money that they have made on perpetuating their storyline, is false. They don't want to believe that any of it is false. And they'll defend it right again to their dying day. I put this YouTube link again up on Gab and on X on my accounts over there. And I basically just said, look, this Dr. Wilson guy again, he came after me for whatever it was, 10 straight minutes in some stupid episode he did on his dumb show. And then that's it. I mean, again, he's multiple times jabbed and he'll die from it. Eventually, he'll die from it. And I'll find out about it, and then I'll go about my business. But again, these people, again, they make a living perpetuating things that they cannot comprehend. He just admitted that he doesn't care who funds a major medical organization. He doesn't even know. He doesn't understand that it's government, that it's NGOs, that it's actual pharmaceutical industries, and that all of them are the ones that are interested in making money. How do you do that? You get on the same page regarding the same story. And then you perpetuate that story in all the avenues that you have control of, and then people buy into it. And then, of course, you do what happened in 2020, which is you perpetuate the lie on such a grand scale, and you scare everybody on such a grand scale, that unfortunately a great deal of people who might not, again, I don't know, they might not distrust government. They might believe what's on their TV. And those individuals, again, will just fall for it. And they did. But these guys fell for it too. The two communists in this entire debate, they fell for it. Kirsch fell for it also. Again, his wife is jabbed 4 times. The people perpetuating the lie, again, don't want to be wrong. And they don't want to believe that they're being used by a corrupt system. Because, of course, if they don't learn about the corrupt system and they don't think that a corrupt system exists, they think that it does exist somewhere, but not on their side. But if they investigated it on their side, they would end up arriving at the conclusion that they are a pawn in that game, that they are being used. And therein lies the problem. They don't want to look in that mirror because it's too big and it's too glaring. So, again, these debates are exhausting. They're going back and forth. Again, they go back and forth on shots and autism. They go back and forth on money and grifting. And, well, you just were pushing ivermectin to make money and this, that, and the other. Again, they have no idea that these people were losing their medical licenses, that people were losing their jobs, that people were being kidnapped in hospitals. They don't want to hear any of this. And they hate the word anecdote. They hate it. They're like, whatever, that's just a story, and you can't believe that. I want data, I want numbers. But they don't think that numbers can be manipulated. They think that a story can be manipulated, which of course they can, but they'll never believe that numbers can be manipulated because they're numbers. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's just easier for them to trust the system, even when the system has led to their demise. And that's a sad state of affairs. When your brain is so far gone that you continue to trust the system that tricked you and manipulated you and got you to do something that you wouldn't perhaps have done under any other circumstance. Not to mention what went on in 2020, as we all know, was something that we've never even experienced before. That alone should have been everyone's number one suspicion. Wait a minute, this has never happened before. Does anybody else think this is strange? Perhaps we should just not do what is being suggested by complete strangers on television to do. Again, these individuals don't think that way. They're just too interested in, again, trying to argue their way into their own rationalization and maintain a presence there. As it's been said in The Matrix, some of these people will fight hard to maintain their illusion because breaking free of it is too uncomfortable. They don't even want to comprehend it. So I'll leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. Should be another interesting week as always. Thanks for listening as always again, and I will catch you on Wednesday. Peace. Thank you for listening to American Education FM. Make sure and check out AmericanEducationFM.com for more information. Take care and God bless.